course, magnesium doesn't cut very well, Tony.
Yeah.
So you have to straighten it out. And I'll straighten it out before I put it out here.
John's breakfast. So John, what are you doing here?
We're going to be explaining how to make these crystal batteries with alum, which is a pickling compound, and it's going to be a semiconductive battery, and they're going to be they're going to grow a crystal, and then when you want the energy, you're just going to water it, and then this is going to produce power to light. So what we're going to do is run through the procedure a little bit on how to build the semiconductive element with this copper here. See?
All right.
It's just a pure copper. But anyway, Pat, what we do is we get pure magnesium rod.
Okay.
See? Very light, if you feel it.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's got a particular sound to it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we cut off the piece we want. See, this is a big negative terminal for it, which is the magnesium now. Basically, there's a couple of different types. I'll show you this type, and then I'll show you the next type. And then, Pat, the second type is a much bigger rod of magnesium.
And heavier.
But let me explain this rod of magnesium. See how it's sort of all different?
It's striated.
Yeah. And see, if you look right here, you see a piece of iron in here. I don't know if the camera can see that.
Yeah.
What you have to do is you have to chop this off on a chop saw and then punch that iron core out and tap it.
As you did there?
Yes,
Okay.
and that's the way you have to use it, because you don't want iron, magnesium, and copper all together.
So you do punch it out or drill it out?
You just punch it out.
Okay.
It's an anode.
Okay.
The power stations and platers and things like use this for anode material.
All right.
All right.
So that's the way they come. With
It's a cathode.
But with the core in the center, that's the way they come.
Yes, they come so they can attach to this iron piece. So now if you cut the camera.
Oh, it's okay.
All right, and I'm going to cut a piece off. So anyway, Pat, we cut off the end of the magnesium bar.
Okay.
And we punch this little piece of steel.
Okay.
That's in here out, right?
What about this? Right. Is that just so that it fits the little...
Yes, see? Because we just want to make it sort of semi-round.
Uh-huh.
And we want to tap this so we can put a screw in there so we can attach a wire to it.
And this is the little plug
And
that
this
came
is
out.
this is the steel that they bond to. You know, when it's an anode.
Why is it smaller at one end?
Oh, the lathe.
The lathe
that
takes
out.
that. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
lathe takes that out. And
Where do these copper bowls come from?
you have to get them on the internet.
Okay.
They're half spheres, and you can buy them in a round sphere, but you don't want to cut them. You would rather buy them.
I wondered if you'd bought them as spheres and
Yes,
cut them. Yeah.
yes. But I don't cut them. I just buy them in single halves.
Mm-hmm.
And they come in all different sizes. See, like this one here is
Yeah.
probably a 5-inch. And these are probably 3 inches each.
And presumably they don't have to be exact spheres either. It could be
Right.
that much of a sphere.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, we've touched this bowl,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's not going to make a good semiconductor because of oil on our
All right.
hand. So we're just going to grab some alcohol. The outside's okay because we're not going to use it.
Okay.
But touching the inside is where the semiconductor, this is where we want the diode junction, so the electricity will only go one way. Okay? Because what we're making here is a crystal battery. And I don't know if the camera can get a real close shot on this, but you can see these crystals. And let's get these so you can see that each crystal grows its own way. Now the important part, Pat, is to not have any oil inside the center.
Okay.
Okay? So what we do is we just so I'll let you help me do it. What we want is we just want a piece of towel about that big. Just tear it out of the towel, the toweling paper, see?
Okay, so does this have to be wiped off as well since it's been had my hands on it?
Yeah, so what we want to do right now we got this piece of towel, and that's just going to be the insulator for it, so it's sandwiched in between here. So basically after this is a semiconductor, this is put down in here.
Okay.
A little alum,
Alum, right.
underneath here, right? And we're going to mix that up here because we have it here in the cup, see?
Okay.
And what this is pickling compound. You buy it in the store in a little container like that, right? Granulated. Okay? And what we'll do is we'll take a pair of scissors. We don't have to be that precise with this one, but you would take a pair of scissors and trim this off.
Okay.
And then what we're going to do is saturate this with alum after we make the semiconductor. And that's going to go down in the bottom like that. And then this piece is going to go inside here. Now the more area that we get, see the size difference of the magnesium. The more area we get, the more current the crystal battery develops.
Okay.
And the only requirement for this battery is to water it. So you've got a pretty good sized piece of magnesium here. It's going to be a long time before this goes away. So that's important to us.
What do you mean goes away?
It's going to do, well, everybody says that these corrosion takes it away. See?
The magnesium disappears, you mean?
Yeah, the magnesium, you know, galvanic action, okay?
It's sacrificial.
Yeah, sacrificial. But it's not, because the alum keeps it not having any galvanic action. See, it's a hard crystal,
Oh, yeah.
okay? And you don't see any galvanic action in this.
So I didn't follow what you were saying then.
Well, in other words, most batteries are galvanic. So this would disappear.
Okay.
You have to sacrifice one, like in a zinc carbon battery using zinc, see, zinc and carbon. Then this one's being sacrificed, see?
Okay.
And so therefore it dies in the end. And you can see here in this clear example, there's the copper wire.
Okay.
And see, there's the alum crystal. See it?
Yeah.
You might want to. You don't see any corrosion.
Right.
Nothing's being sacrificed here. All right? So,
So that's a battery as well?
yes. Yes, there's several experimental batteries here that we've tested by making the semiconductive. So if we just took this one out, see, it actually, the crystal actually holds it in there. Okay? So, this material is a crystalline material.
Which material?
The
It's
alum.
alum.
Okay.
Okay? And what it's going to do is when you mix it up, it's going to become a paste. And then through watering it to get the energy, it's going to make a crystal. It's going to form a crystal. And depending on how good you're at mixing all this, it could be a clear crystal like this. So, if anything was being sacrificed, you would see it in this clear crystal. In other words, you would see it corroding in the crystal.
Yes, you would.
And you don't see that.
I think you would.
Okay? Now, when you do it this way, see what happens when you do the aluminum and the carbon. See what's being sacrificed? Where the connecting wire is.
Yes.
So this is not a good idea. See how the rust from where it's drilled in the carbon rod is coming up through the towel, and
yes.
And this wire is being sacrificed, right? Through galvanic action.
So what kind of a battery is that?
That's another test of the elm with carbon.
Okay.
But the problem is getting the screw into the carbon.
Okay.
That's a real problem. And then anything you do, you have to have a piece of aluminum here. So that's a completely different material holding this. And so one of them's got to go.
Okay.
Okay. So what we want to do, Pat, is we want to make the semiconductor. So how we make the semiconductor is we're going to heat this copper till it goes black. So we just turn the heater on, the hot plate, and just leave that copper there. And what's going to happen is it's going to start to go black, and you're going to see it start to come up from the edges, right? And that's going to be a shell. In other words, the black, and you see the black on the outside of this here.
I wonder why that happened, yeah.
Right, but see this red here? Okay, that red in there is the semiconductor material. It's like a photocell. It would be an easy way to make a solar cell. Photoconductive material. And boy, that's starting to get hot.
How long is this process going to take?
It's going to take about 10 minutes. You see it starting to form now. The camera's starting to see it.
Yeah.
See how it's going silver,
Yeah.
sort of?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me talk in here, Tony.
Sure.
And I'm going to start right here and start to explain.
Right.
Okay, if you notice, the copper is now heating, and if you notice the copper is starting to go silver, pretty soon the oxygen in the air is going to react with this, and it's going to start to go black. So there's the explanation for the color change now.
Why is it just gold around, copper colored at the top, that last little bit like that, 1/8 of an inch?
Because of the heat, right?
Okay.
The heat. I'm only heating from the bottom.
Oh, okay. So
with a
it's
red
working
element.
its way up.
Yeah, it's working its way up, and you know how metal changes colors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you're seeing is silver here.
Yeah, I'm seeing more silver on this side than I am on that.
Yeah.
Well, of course, it's got a hole right there, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
But Tony's going to see this in the camera.
Is this pure copper?
Yes,
Yeah.
from India. They're made in India. This is an Indian piece of copper, so there's a few pieces of copper that you can work with, and it doesn't come out right. And then there's some other copper that just works. So it depends how pure that copper is.
Yeah.
So different things, you know, if you can buy different things. But one more thing I want to point out is after you treat the copper, you can see the copper ends up in the borax, and I'm going to point that out right now. See if you read it, Pat. It tells you what it is.
Oh, it does outdoor furniture, buffs it
Yes,
up.
yes. Yes, ingredients, see? Sodium tetracarbonate.
Should have learned chemistry.
Well, it's what is going to break the shell, and we're going to actually rub it off in here. Because you don't want the copper oxide on your hands. It's poisonous. Okay. Now if you look at it, it's starting to change color again.
Cupric oxide, yeah, Cu2O3. Cu2O3.
Yep.
It's going darker now.
Yeah, copper oxide is what we're actually making. We're making a semiconductor.
So is this toxic as the stuff is coming off it, or?
Yeah, but we've got so
Not very
much
much,
open
yeah.
space. See, it's starting to go really dark right now.
Right.
So now you can see it's starting to change color. And see, we're starting to get the layer.
Yeah, I'm seeing the layers now.
Yeah. And pretty soon this is going to go dark. Now what we want it to do is we want it to go black. We could hurry the process by me getting a propane torch and heating the outside.
Mm-hmm.
It's all right, we've got plenty of film.
All right? But I'd rather have you see the natural process. See, it's starting
Yeah,
to
it's
flake.
sort of-
Now see, if you look in here, it's starting to go red.
Yeah.
So let me
It's red at the
get
very
this so
bottom.
the camera can see. The red is the semiconductive material. See this?
That's better.
See, now you're starting to actually see the layer of the
Yeah.
semiconductive material. That's copper oxide. And you get that by the oxygen reacting after you heat the copper.
Mm-hmm.
So you're actually making a semiconductor right there. You're making a junction. You're making a one-way valve, one-way gate, like a diode. It will only go one way.
Mm-hmm. So it's gone almost silver right now. It's
Yeah.
past the purple and it's gone back to silver, sort of platinum.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's going to go black.
Well, it is going black. It looks silver to you, but
Okay.
it's going black.
I'm shooting a video now.
Yeah. It's actually going black. And see this red in here?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you want. You want the copper oxide. You don't want the black layer. You want the reddish colored layer, because that's the semiconductor, like right here.
Okay.
See? But you want enough of it in here when we dump it in the borax, because the borax is going to clean it off. It's going to boil and clean it up.
Oh, you're going to put the borax in here and on
No,
top of
no,
this?
we're gonna dunk this in the borax.
Ah, okay. So that solution is the borax and what?
Water.
Water, okay.
Tell me when you want.
It's done. You don't have to take any more. So I'm going to continue on now. Anyway, Pat, if you look, I'm just going to check it here. I'm not touching it with my hands because it's very hot. But you can see here the color.
Oh, yeah.
See the color?
Yeah.
Okay, so we need more heat. So we have to leave it on longer.
Okay.
Okay? Because what we want to do is basically not watch it. Make sure that you've got the 20 multein borax because of the solution, which is a cleaner. And what you want to do is you want to mix that in the water here, which I've already poured it in.
So about what percentage to...
Well, you just take the borax because it doesn't make any difference.
Oh, okay.
Just take it in and put it in like this.
Okay. So it's not so much per
No,
pint
it's
or-
not.
yeah.
No. It's not that critical. It's just a cleaner. And it's just going to clean this. See how it's gold now?
Yeah. Actually, it looks brass colored now.
Yes. And you just mix the borax in here. And this becomes the cleaner. All right, and that's going to strip the oxide down to the corpus
Okay.
copper. And that's the semiconductive material. Okay, because what we want the crystal to do is we want the crystal to supply the energy and only be able to go one way through. So nothing can back up. Because when the battery gets used up, look at it this way. If the battery completes the circuit, then it starts using the battery. So what we want to do is we want the crystal to just keep outpouring energy when it's moist.
Right.
Follow me? Because these batteries don't go dead. They don't sulfate. They don't go away. They look like they're dry, and you're not going to get anything, but you'll see we're going to bring them to life, all of them together. And we're going to light LEDs and stuff. Mm-hmm. So just by adding just a little bit of moisture to them, they're going to run like regular batteries. So now, see, it's starting to change color again.
Yeah, and you're getting this band around the
Yes.
top again. Huh.
Yes. Now it's starting to go dark, see it? In here.
Yeah, it's going back to copper colored inside.
Mm-hmm. And the whole time it's doing this, it's building this oxide crystal. Starting to go black.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of a murky.
And there's no significance to the fact that wood doesn't float in there, right?
No.
Just what it is.
Just what it is.
Yeah.
Either that or these are completely waterlogged, probably.
Okay, so this is the shot of you mixing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Black. See, it's going black. Starting to black, isn't it, Tony?
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
So see, one's copper oxide and one is corpus copper.
Okay.
The corpus is what you want. That's the red copper. That's this red color.
Cuprous.
Corpus.
C-O-R. Cuprous. Cuprous.
They say it so many different ways, but you want that red. Everybody will understand what it is because they pronounce it. Okay, so the crystals are disappearing, Tony. Okay. We're going to water it anyway. And we're going to bring them to life.
So it comes a very uniform color.
Yes, once it's totally black, we're going to take it and dump it.
Right.
And you're going to see this black stuff flake off it. It's hard to do it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed it up, Tony. Okay, Pat, since it's taking quite a while to do it because the hot plate, because of the air around it, we can help the process by taking this propane torch, see,
Okay.
and heating this. So we're actually helping it
Yeah.
go black, see?
And it's going blacker inside as you
Yes,
do that. Yeah.
yes.
About how hot does this get to do this?
Well, I don't know. I don't, you know.
Yeah.
It just has to be hot to form the black, see? So see, once we're gold in here, see now? Okay. See how it went black? And that's because we got the copper hot enough to react with the oxygen. So we're just going to get it a little bit blacker, and then we're going to dump it in the borax here.
Okay.
We got a tight shot here. Hold on.
It's going real black, see?
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, you can see it.
So when you put the flame on the inside, it changed it back to copper color.
Well, you
That's
can,
just the-
well, I need to get this striker again and show you. It doesn't want to burn inside the bowl, see, but we're going to force it to heat. Now, see, go back to copper. Let me get it this direction, see, because we're getting real hot, see.
Yeah.
And what's happening is the copper is reacting with the oxygen in the air to make the corpus copper
Okay.
and the copper oxide. Now the black we do not want.
Okay.
So we want to get that out of there. And the only way we can get that out of there is by
Into
dumping it in the borax, see? Because it looks really copper right now when I do this, see?
Yeah.
It's as if it was untouched. So we're getting it as black as we can get it, see?
Yeah. It's very black inside.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think we're close enough. Now this procedure for everybody is be careful when you do this because it's hot.
Okay.
And just let it fall and back away from it. And after it cools down in a little bit in there, you can rub it. Okay, so just pick it up like that and just put it in there. And that's all it takes. And now look what's floating in there. I'm going to move it over here. The black.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to rub that out. See, look. Okay. So see, now we have the semiconductor.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just rub that and just get it out of there. And see the semiconductor material's the red.
Okay.
So we just get as much as we can. Don't scrape it with a Brillo pad or anything because then you'll ruin the transistor part of it.
Okay. So then do you have to use alcohol again?
Nope.
No.
And then just clean it off. And that's your semiconductor because you got plenty of it here.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that we could do this a little more, get it more red and more red and more red, but for all demonstration purposes.
Right. Okay.
Can you hold it up, turn it over and hold it up to the camera? I want to come in real close. That's great.
Yeah, for demonstration purposes of this crystal battery, this is actually fine.
Yeah. It's good.
Okay, so now we're going to get rid of the hot plate because we don't need that here, right? Anyway, Pat, now what we're going to do is we've cured our semiconductor, and what we're going to do is we're going to take the alum, and we're going to put a little in the bottom, about like that, see? And we're just going to add a little water to it. And we're going to start to build a crystal in the bottom, see?
Okay.
And that won't hurt you. So we got that. Then we're going to put the paper towel. See, and it's just making a membrane.
Okay.
Okay? Then we're going to take and put the screw in the magnesium.
Why do you put the screw in there?
Because you want to attach to it
Okay.
with a wire.
Ah, okay.
Okay, so then we're just going to place that in there like that. Take the alum. Okay, so we put the material around there. Now we're just going to water it.
Is that distilled water or?
Just regular water with some alum added to it.
Is there a formula for that? I mean, how much
There's no
to add?
there's no formula for this.
Okay.
You just want to put it in the water so that it becomes alike, the alike electrolyte.
Okay.
See? That's all you have to do. Okay, so right now this is live. This is a live cell. See how it starts to bubble?
Mm-hmm.
Hear it?
Mm-hmm.
So right now what it's doing is forming, see what it's doing? It's forming these little chambers.
Yeah.
So, we take the meter, it's set on see the 2.5 volt scale right here,
Okay.
and we're just going to check it for voltage right now, and we're going to read it. Look at where it went. It's almost at 2 volts.
Wow.
So it's already better than an iCAD battery. Okay, and now we can check it for current by going over here to the 10 milliamp scale, see?
Uh-huh.
So we're going to see how many milliamps we can get out of this battery. See, we're pinned on the 10 milliamp scale. So this is a pretty big battery, so that's over 100 milliamps right now. And there's 500 milliamps. So we're over a half an amp of power right now at exactly 1.5 volts, just on this little semiconductor battery. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to water this battery. See? And we're going to water this battery because we want to bring them to life, right?
And this is the water with the aluminium.
Yes,
Yeah.
see? And we're going to water this big one. And we're going to get the crystals going. See how it grows the crystal in there? Mm-hmm. Watch. So I'm going to just push them down. And I'm going to wait a few seconds. And I'm going to bring these batteries to life. I'm going to hook them together. And I'm going to run stuff.
All right.
Okay?
All 3 or all 4?
I can hook as many as I want.
Okay.
Okay, so I can go to each one now. These are older batteries. And I can go back to the 2.5 volt scale. And I can go to this battery and I can look and see where it is. And see, it's up already.
Yeah.
See, all I did was water it. Then I can go to this one and look, and it's up. And I can go to this one and look, and it's up. Okay. Now I can go to one that we didn't water.
Okay.
And it's 0. You have nothing.
Okay. Oh, it does. It went up.
Well, a little bit, but no. Where'd it go? Okay.
There it is.
There it is. Okay, just
Yeah.
okay. So it's sitting in a dry crystal at about. It looks like 1 volt, but still to operate what I want to operate, I need to water them. So I'm just going to water it a little bit like that. Now watch what happens. What's absorbing in that clear crystal? See it?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to go. See, this one's going to stay around the same because this experimental one is just a piece of copper wire looped around here, so it doesn't quite have the surface area of these.
Right.
And I'm going to just move these around a little bit and drain some of the water out of them because I don't need them that wet. Okay. So now I'm going to get some clip leads and we're going to run some LEDs. Okay, so the question that you had was, what is the battery? Okay, so
Right.
we have this copper bowl, right? And that copper is a certain thickness. Great artist, huh?
Beautiful.
All right, so we heat this bowl, all right?
Okay.
We got this copper bowl, Pat,
Right.
and this represents the copper bowl. It's a certain thickness, which is the thickness that's on the table there. And when we heat this, what we're doing is we're forming an oxide layer, which we're just going to call this. So this is the reaction, right, with the air.
Heat and the copper.
The air and the oxygen, okay? Okay, so what we're looking for is corpus copper.
Okay.
Corpus copper is not black, it's red. So we're going to dump this into the borax solution, right? And what's going to be left here is this little layer of corpus copper. Okay?
Yes.
All right, now the black's going to go away, and we're going to have this red layer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically this black's going to go away. Certain places, right? Not perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Right, just like this. Okay?
Right.
That, the red, then becomes the semiconductive material. So basically what we have just created is a diode. And the symbol for a diode is that. It's a one-way valve. The power can only go through it this way
Okay.
to the load. The power can't come back. It's only going to go one way. All right, so the next thing is we're making a membrane by putting the paper towel in here.
Mm-hmm.
We're putting some alum. We'll just use the green for the alum. So we're putting this on the bottom like we did. We're filling this up, right? Just like this.
Yep.
Okay? Then we're putting the paper towel in, which becomes the membrane for the ions to move through.
Okay.
Remember, the ions are big.
All right.
And so what we're looking is to move the ions to get electrons. All right? Something Tom Bearden talks about all the
All
time. But in this case, we're building an ionic battery, something that a crystal's going to make work. All right? So we put the paper towel there, and that's our membrane. So now, see, we have these layers.
Mm-hmm.
We have a positive semiconductor and a negative part, right? And then we have the crystal that we've put in here and we've wet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the membrane, which is the paper towel, okay? Now the next thing, and I'm just going to use red, is the piece of magnesium.
Okay.
That becomes the negative to it, all right? And a very powerful negative. So now we lay that piece of magnesium, which looks like that, in there, right?
Yep.
And the little screws right here, right? This
Okay.
is all magnesium.
And that's a negative.
That's the negative terminal. And then we fill the rest with the alum, all right? And then we add water. Now we have ionic transfer.
And the alum is there for the crystals.
Yes.
And alum is...
So basically what we want to do, Pat, is let's look at it this way. We've got our copper, right? We've got the first part of the copper is black.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want that, all right? So we get rid of that
Okay.
with the solution. So what we want is we want the corpus copper because that's semiconductive and it's photosensitive.
Okay.
It can make a solar cell. You can do all kinds of things with it.
Mm-hmm.
All right? So what we want is we want this semiconductor layer, right? Then we want the alum against the semiconductor layer. then we want the membrane. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's because we're making a one-way gate.
Right.
And then for the negative, we're using the magnesium, which is big.
Okay.
So, here's what we have. All right? Now,
Right.
what I'm looking for is, you know what a crystal is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But if you expanded that crystal out, you'd find little tubes that run in this crystal. And basically you can see them if you look at the clear one. All right? What we're looking for is to push the ions through these little tubes. So remember, the ion's big, the electron's small.
Okay.
So the only way we're going to get any current is if that ion moves. See, and everybody said, well, you're going to do this, but it's an ionic type situation in the crystal. So it's really an ionic crystal battery. That's my definition of it.
Okay.
Okay, some other scientists may have some other definition of it.
Right.
But basically, I'm looking to move these ions through these channels.
Now, would quartz crystals not have
No,
the same?
it will not do it. Maybe under a different situation,
Okay.
under a different type of battery. But then we're talking more about piezoelectric. We're talking about a crystal that you make move that generates electricity.
Okay.
Okay, but we don't want to do
So
that.
this alum is very specific to
Yes, it's very specific to this, and it works the best and doesn't cause any of this corrosion or, you know, what they call galvanic action.
Okay.
Because normally if you had copper and zinc, the zinc's going to disappear, and then the battery's done. This, you can let the battery just dry out, set it away, water it, and it comes back to life.
Yeah.
Because it's going to move these ions through the crystal. And the more crystal we can form around here, remember the crystals are going to form inside here,
Right.
you know, okay? So now the paper towel is not as important when the crystal forms. Because now what you got is you're going to move these ions through the crystal. Paper towel is meaningless after
Right.
that,
Yeah.
right? It just starts in the beginning to keep
Right.
it from shorting out.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so now you've got all these crystals that are growing, right? And it doesn't make any difference where they are in here. This is just an example that the crystals are growing, right?
Okay.
With channels, all right?
Yeah.
So if we took one of this is a clear crystal, see? But look at the crystal. See
Yeah.
the way the crystal is formed all the way around it?
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
See the corpus copper is red,
Yeah.
which is semiconductive. So it's a one-way gate, all right? So what we're building is a one-way valve for a crystal battery that uses water. It burns the water. And when the water goes away, the crystal dries out. And just remember, the channels stay. So the rain comes, the battery and the LED comes back on. Because all we want to do, and we're using a couple of them, we know this is the negative because it's magnesium. And we know that the copper is the positive. All right, so we connect them together, right, with an LED, just like this.
Okay.
That's the symbol.
Okay.
Light emitting diode, right?
Right.
And we run the wires to the negative and to the positive. And we don't need a resistor or anything because the channels in here are like a resistance.
Okay.
So we're not going to burn it out. Okay, and if it sees a different impedance, then it adjusts to that impedance. So it's a specialized battery that anybody could use. And now you're saying, can we read by it? And I'm saying yes. If you build the battery right, and you build an oscillator, which I've taught everybody before, it's all in the DVDs, you know, that we're building an SG oscillator, and that oscillator is generating this spike, and that's going to light a string of LEDs. All right? Okay. So now, if we go back and we'll light these LEDs up, right? Yeah. But that's basically the simplest way to explain how to do this.
So I'm halfway through my book, and the battery starts to fail, and I just get my glass of water and add.
You just add your water to it, and the light comes back on bright.
Can you light a house?
You could if you did LED lighting, if these were big enough.
So this actually becomes one of the batteries.
It's a free energy source, Pat.
Yeah.
And only burns water. So that means if you built a system, right, you're looking for things that are futuristic and things that will help you gain an understanding of the way nature works, right?
Yeah.
So the best way to understand that is through crystals, okay? And what's actually going on in the crystal. And the easiest way to do this is with the alum. That's something that's available. It's not harmful. It's biodegradable.
Is it cheap?
It's $100 for 50 pounds.
Oh, wow.
So you can, you know.
And
so,
this is presumably very cheap?
Well, this is very, very inexpensive to light.
Yeah.
So here's what happens. You know all the garden lights everybody's got? They take a solar cell that charges during the day. This light stays on 24 hours a day. All she needs is a little moisture. So if it comes over and rains, right, the lights are on.
So you turn the sprinklers on,
Right.
off the battery.
Yeah, yes, yes, yeah. And so let's light it up. Let's light something up, and so you can see how bright it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so Pat, we're going to hook this up. The center one is the magnesium, that's the negative, so we're just going to use the black lead. See how this moved around, the crystal got soft?
Right.
So we're not going to try to, and we're just going to hook up these in series just to do this. So we went from negative to positive, and from negative to positive, okay? And so that means we've got a negative and we've got a positive, right? Okay. Now remember what I said. It's a one-way valve. We're not going to use that. We're just going to use these three. Okay. Okay. So the first one will light up. All right, now the LED is dependent on which direction. So see, there's no light. So we have to get the correct direction. You have to connect it up in the correct direction.
Oh.
And then bang.
Right.
Can we read by it? You know, so there's your energy source.
Right.
For a little bit of water and a little bit of pickling compound and some piece of, this doesn't have to be a copper bowl. This can be a flat sheet of copper with alum on top of it and a piece of magnesium. And the crystal will grow. Now, let's try the white, right? So, can we read by it? Yes, people read by that kind of light all the time at night.
I've got one in my cell phone.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, it also knows these are voltage restrictive. It takes so much voltage to light them. Okay? So that's the reason for combining the cells. So that you have the correct voltage to light the cells.
Hold it light. Hold on.
Because when you put two of them together,
Then it takes more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Because they're not as bright together as they are.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's nothing that says you can't take a resistor and put them all in a string and light them all. You follow me?
Yeah.
So how you would do that is you would put a resistor in line with this one, and I'll show that to you. Okay. So anyway, Pat, what I'm going to do now is show you how to combine all the LEDs.
All right.
So what I'm going to do is I'll just erase this part down here because so I can show you what we're going to do. So the way to combine all the LEDs is to have a bus wire, right? Let's just call this a positive wire.
Okay.
Okay? So all the LEDs, all the light emitting diodes are going to have a resistor on the negative end. And that symbol means that it's an LED. So you just do this. And I'm going to use 100 ohms just to show you. Because it's going to self-adjust. So that, in other words, so they all get an equal amount of power.
Okay.
So that they're all the same brightness. So there you go. There's your minus and there's your plus.
Okay.
Okay, so let's do it over here. Right? So see what I've done? I've taken the negative ends and I've put a 100 ohm resistor in each one.
So let me make sure this is the,
That's the positive.
that's the positive.
Okay?
This is coming from here, so that's a negative.
Yes. And they're in series.
Right.
So you have 3 batteries running.
Right.
Okay. So then we're going to tie the positives together like we did on the board.
Okay.
And we're going to put the power to them and see they're the same brightness. And now when you start to light things up,
It's bigger.
it's bigger.
Is that 2 or 3? You got that?
That's
Two
2.
together.
Okay, that's the thought.
Okay? And so can you read by it?
Yeah. Might be stressful, but you could read instructions.
Well, you can read everything that's
Right.
white, see?
Right.
I don't have, I mean, it depends on what the writing is.
Yeah.
But white LEDs,
Yeah.
that's the way they look.
Right. Yeah.
So people have them on little things, on their little night light, on their bed, and they've got them up here on their glasses.
Right.
And they're reading the book down here.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, I've got a little light like that.
Yeah. So you bet you can read like that. And just let it go.
Mm-hmm.
If it starts to go, add a little bit of water. But you know what? You're going to be here for a couple of days
Right.
before the water tries to even evaporate out of it.
So then the next question that comes to my mind is, could you run a heater off this?
If you had big enough ones, yes, you could, because these are actually heating. You can actually
Yeah.
feel the heat.
Yeah.
They call it
Yeah.
cold light, but it's not.
Yeah, it's a little bit warm.
And another thing, what you can do is run infrareds
Okay. Yeah.
and heat.
Directly inwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can build an oscillator, and the oscillator will oscillate, right? And even run more. You can make these bigger. Now you're talking about amps.
So, in order to power your house, would you need to have a collector of some kind, and it's like a
Yes, you would make a collection plate,
right?
but it would be all LED lighting
Okay.
or high frequency lighting. In other words, you'd be running the SG oscillator or something like that, and that would do all your lighting. It would be like these fluorescent lights.
Air conditioners, if it was big enough.
You know, we're talking about in the worst of times.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're talking,
I know.
you know, if the grid went out,
Yeah.
right, there's a way to get energy, and this is one way to get it for free
Right.
and be able to do something at night. You could certainly signal somebody with this.
Yeah.
And it will power an FM transmitter and small CB transmitters. And you just add water.
Could you charge your cell phone battery with it?
Yes,
Yeah, that could be useful.
yes, you can charge a cell phone battery with it. Because all you have to be is 1 volt or 2 volts over the cell phone battery. And cell phone batteries take milliamps. And what does this thing do? It's doing, we saw that You know, the bigger ones do over 500 milliamps.
Right. Right.
Okay, so you'd put a resistor in line with a cell phone battery, and it'd be 20 or 30 milliamps where the cell phone battery needed
So
to be.
we're down in Alabama or wherever the big flood was recently, and
It's one way to light.
right.
It's one way to power your communications on small transmitters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, in fact, we could present that transmitter. We could show you what I could show you the transmitter and hook it up, and you could watch it work.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's good for 3 football fields. So, you know, you can do that.
So this has a very definite, immediate use.
Oh, these would be great. The rain comes, the yard lights up.
Yeah.
I mean, solar lights at night are bright. That's very bright light.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I can keep adding here.
Yeah.
And you don't see it diminishing.
You just have to add these little resistors, right?
Yeah, you don't see it diminishing. Why? Because the crystal, it's ionic.
Mm-hmm.
It's moving ions. It's got current. And it's in series.
Yeah, like
So-
I said, you put
so-
these sprinklers on and it takes care of it.
So what's the total voltage now under load? We'll see. Well, it's over 2.5 volts.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we got there? We got 4 volts. So that's keeping those LEDs, which are direct shorts basically to this, at 4 volts. That's a lot of current
Yeah.
for such a little bitty crystal and some,
Tiny little things.
yeah. And they'll stay like this, and we can keep adding.
I've seen in some of the high-end catalogs, like Williams Sonoma or something, copper colanders.
Yeah.
I guess you could make a big one out of something like that.
Yes, you could,
Yeah.
if you could get the magnesium that
Right.
big.
Yeah.
But these could all be sawed off and put on a sheet and connected together.
Right.
That would make the one piece of magnesium. This piece of magnesium right here, this bar, you could make solar lights for the next 20 or 30 years.
And where did you get the magnesium from?
Well, you just get it from an anode, a company that sells anodes. Okay, and you're going to pay by the pound for magnesium.
So this is exactly the thing. This one doesn't have a metal core.
No, because that's science grade,
Okay.
and this is industrial grade. And this one is used, they have to hook this. They sacrifice this in a galvanic action, but I'm not doing it. The alum stops that from happening.
Okay.
It doesn't become a galvanic battery because you see nothing rotting away in there.
You didn't even have to leave these overnight or anything. These clearly formed their crystals,
Yeah.
but this was just.
All I did was water them back.
Right.
That's it, and they came back to life.
Yeah.
I want more light. I just add another one.
John, let me ask you a little bit about the history of how all this developed. How far back in history does this go? Did you find this out, or was it just as a result?
Well, I kept being, everybody keeps looking for energy sources, for free energy sources, and this is one of them. It just requires water. It would be the same thing as you burning water for fuel in your car. You follow me?
Could it be seawater?
No.
Okay.
No, that's got a salt content to
Okay.
it, and that's very corrosive.
Yeah.
And that would be corrosive to the copper. But to answer Tony's question,
Was it your original research?
no. There were different people involved in this. There was somebody called Laser Saber who did it with magnesium strip. What the problem was, is he did it with a piece of carbon and a magnesium strip, and then he said he added salt water to it. Well, that just burned the magnesium up.
Right.
So I kept researching, and we had a little group on the internet, and we did cement batteries, where we put them in a pop can, aluminum battery, and these worked out the best.
Yeah.
When I figured out how to make the copper into a semiconductor, it just popped into my head one day that, you need a one-way. You want a one-way gate. So the history does go back, because I think there were alum batteries, Tony. So, you got to give credit where credit's due. And guess what? Those batteries, there was never any galvanic action, and they were taken off the market. So they're basically an eternal source for a battery. And that's free.
Yeah.
So if you want something that you can make that gives you this for free, and you can walk away and you just put a couple of drops of water, how much does water cost?
Yeah.
It comes out of the sky, right?
Yeah.
It's on the plants in the morning.
Yeah.
And if you make a mechanism to gather the water, in fact, you can pull it out of the ground through a heat transfer process, drip it down a little pipe, and go right into your battery.
We in Santa Barbara we have fog.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have fog water.
Yeah, fog water's the same thing.
Yeah.
You could build a collector, collect the fog water, that could drip down in your battery, and your lights are on at night. How much freer do you want it? The free, it's not the point. You never get anything for free. You have to pay for this, and you have to pay for this. But in the end, when you're all done, and it's running for years and months and days, it's free.
Right. Right.
Solar cells you're going to have a hard time with, because are they ever going to pay for themselves? I don't think so. This is much easier.
So I'm just trying to think how.
And this does charge batteries. If you run an oscillator with this,
Yeah.
you can charge batteries the same way as the SG motor charges
But you
batteries.
wouldn't charge these because these
And
don't
this
need
does,
charging.
and this does run motors.
Right.
You can run motors with this. So that's a little bit of the history, Tony, and it goes back to the 1800s. The telegraph stations used these type of batteries for Morse code between stations, because all they had to do was water the battery. But but there's no replacement. You understand what I'm saying? There's no replacement for these materials using this material.
Yeah.
So therefore, the batteries lasted too long, and the ideal battery after that was the Daniel cell, which looked like, a claw at the bottom,
Yeah. I
and
remember that.
copper sulfate and everything, and the zinc electrode ate away, and guess what? You had to buy a new one. But this, you didn't have to do that.
So ultimately, could this go into my Prius?
Ultimately, one day when it's developed into cells,
Right.
and it's a 300-volt charge,
Yeah.
300 volts at 5 amps or 10 amps is going to run the motor in your Prius.
Yeah.
And you're just going to add water.
You just got to add water. Yeah. Huh.
It's an ideal battery. And I termed it on the internet the crystal battery. The Earth lights the crystal battery. So it's an ideal cell for those that want some light. And, what does it cost you to get a little bit of water? You could get it out of the gutter and just add a drop of water to it. It could rain.
Well, if you have an earthquake and the power goes off for 5 days,
That's the way.
this will
You've
keep
got
you going.
light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and if you build these right, you have a bank standing by.
Right.
and it'll run all your LED lighting in the house, and it'll run your radio,
Yeah.
so you can listen.
Yeah.
You know, we've only taken it to this level
Yeah.
because of the way that they only make certain sizes of magnesium bars.
Yeah.
So we're looking into it. But one way is to pancake them, you know, cut them in slices, machine them, put them on some flat plate, right, against some copper plate.
As well? Or no,
No, this is just magnesium.
no, but I mean the plate that it went on, that wouldn't have to be magnesium.
No, we could strap them all together with magnesium bars.
Okay.
Well, couldn't you slice it and then use a stamping machine and stamp them out?
Yes, you could, like a cookie cutter.
Yeah.
Right,
Like like stamping?
right. But you want the material, you want the magnesium thick.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
You want a lot of material because you want a lot of current because you want to keep this up.
Yeah.
So this
See.
is the minimum thickness you probably want. Then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, if you listen very closely, I don't know if the mic can pick this up.
This is the one that you just did, and it was making a noise a little while ago.
Those are the crystals for
Yeah.
me.
This needs more water into it.
No, it's got plenty.
Which was the
This is the new one right here.
See,
which was
look,
the loud? Which was the one making the noise?
this one.
Unclip your mic and just hold it next to it. Can you do that? Help me, Pat?
Well, I want Pat to listen.
No, put your mic next to it.
I want to get it first.
Can't hear it. That one I can hear.
Okay, here you go.
The popping noises. How about the brand new one? Oh, they're much faster popping noises.
Yes.
Yeah. Huh. Can you hear that? No,
I can,
Of course you
but-
can't. No. Yeah, this one is like pop, pop, pop. This one's like brrrr.
Really?
Yeah. Go that one again. I'm not hearing anything right now. Lost it.
I hear them with my ears.
Oh yeah.
That's the one that's doing it.
Yeah.
That's the brand new one. See, it's forming the crystals. These already have their crystals formed.
Yeah, that one's quite loud. Yeah,
How's that, Tony?
it sounds really good.
Yeah.
So there it is. The crystal battery.
That's really, really impressive. It's just a question of thinking,
What can you use it for?
right, I mean, like I said, you can run these sprinklers and have your solar lights.
Well,
going
why
all
would
the
you ever,
time.
you know, nature supplies all the water.
Well, not where we are.
Well, not in California. I mean,
Right.
California, you're waiting for the Sandman, but
Right.
but still,
But yeah, the sprinklers could hit that and just run, and it would be constantly on.
what about people with water machines that take the water right out of the air? They
Yeah.
only need a few drops in these cells.
Yeah.
These will go and go and go, Pat. They'll stay like this.
Yeah. Until
Well,
they
you
never
don't
wear
see
out.
them. No, you don't see these diminishing.
I mean, those things never wear out.
No,
Why should they? I guess.
they're LEDs.
Yeah.
And I think with that, we've all learned something new.
Yeah, we have.
Great.
Good doings, John.
All right.
Yeah, it's a good session. Great.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
And there'll be more to it. You know, we'll do more to this.
Yeah.
Now you said something about the things had tubes in them. The
Well, I'm
ion-
telling you
the
that
crystals had tubes in. Can you see them in here? Or
yeah, you can
Those
see
are
their
the tubes.
fractures like. See
Okay,
'em?
those are the tubes.
Well, they make the crystals form with,
It's too small. To be
yeah,
able
it's
to see
too
with the naked
small to
eye.
see,
Okay.
but the ions and the electrons can all go through those. So you
Right.
want this ionic transfer. So you can see a bigger one of the crystals.
Which is what happens in the SG motor with,
Yes.
with the batteries.
Yes.
Yeah.
See here, Pat, if you get that little cup over there, that blue cup.
This one?
This is the copper. See?
Right.
Here's one of the crystals. And if you look at the crystal, it's, how did Tom Bearden say it? It's porous.
Right.
Or
Right.
sort of like how did he say the word? Prigogine?
Prigogine crystal.
Prigogine crystal.
But prigogine crystal is one that's under stress.
Yeah, well, this is under stress.
Yeah.
This is under stress right now while it's forming.
Right.
So you're getting energy.
Right.